So, welcome to day 6 of the 30-day handstand challenge. And like I say, you can see we're not in the gym anymore. Um, Big difference we're going to do today. We're going to head outside in a second, but if the wind's blowing, you're not really going to be able to hear me. So we'll do a few demonstrations outside. Again, because we've got lights that I don't really want to piss off our housemates with. So we're going to kind of like do the simple stuff inside, and then we're going to take out the demonstrations outside. Hopefully now you're into a rhythm of getting your shoulders and your wrists warm, so I don't want to kind of like teach you to suck eggs, but warm up your wrists, warm up your shoulders, shoulder circles, wrist rocks, and keep on working on that shoulder flexibility. Remember, that's going to help you stack your handstand a lot better. We're going to introduce you to 2 new exercises today. Actually, we're going to introduce a whole lot of new exercises. We're going to introduce a new principle, which is how to fail. I always got taught from backgrounds, used to do a lot of rock climbing, and the first thing that we teach you in rock climbing is how to fall off correctly. Yeah, so make sure that you're doing it safely. When it comes to a handstand, actually when it comes to weightlifting as well, we want to teach you how to bail a snatch. So we want to teach you how to bail out of a handstand, especially like I say, is if you're learning to tip your shoulders further forward, you're trying to learn to kick up a little bit more, having that confidence that you know how to get out of a handstand safely, hopefully it'll give you a confidence to learn to lean into it a little bit more. Quite often when people either over kicking and then they bail kind of like in a funny way, or they're just not confident getting all the way upright because they're worried that they're going to fall over. So there's 3 ways really that you can come out of a handstand. There's back the way you came, there's by continuing forward, in which case we need to do a forward roll, or there's to the sides, which really we need to learn how to do a pirouette. So we're going to focus on the basics today of how to do a forwards roll. Yep. And how to do a pirouette. You're not really going to do a pirouette because that's going to be a bit more advanced. You want to have a handstand there first. But we're going to discuss the basics. And for that, your buy-in is going to involve 2 exercises. Number 1 is an alligator roll. I'll explain why in a second. And number 2 is going to be a candlestick roll, which is just going to kind of teach you how to get your arms over your head. So if we moved on to a backwards roll to handstand, you get the ideas of how to do that. So exercise number 1 is just going to be your candlestick roll. So we're going to look for a shoulder stand. We look for keeping your body in a nice tight position. I'm going to show you first because that's probably a bit of an easy way of going about it. What we're going to look for is arms nice and straight, starting in a standing position as though you were going to go into a forwards roll, but we're going to go backwards. So you're going to roll onto your back and then come to standing. A couple of things, you might not be able, if you don't have the hip flexibility to get into this position, that's going to be quite tough. It's okay to go onto the toes. Like I say, a lot of gymnastics work is going to be done from here. As we come back, I want you to shoot your arms over your head as quick as you can and try and think about keeping those active tissues by reaching your toes towards the ceiling. So it's going to be back, up, and back to standing. And we're going to do 5 of those. So if you're not too confident reaching your legs nice and high, if you think you're going to fall over, what we probably need to do is learn the shoulder stand as well. Okay, so thinking like a yoga exercise. So a good way to try and do that if you're struggling with kind of like your candlestick roll is just learning to get your legs towards the ceiling, placing your hands as high as you can or as far up your back as you can. Squeeze your bum and then try and imagine reaching your toes towards the ceiling all the way through that. Again, what we want to try and avoid is you tumbling over and then putting a lot of pressure on your neck. You should have 0 pressure on your neck here. You should just be reaching towards the ceiling. Happy? Exercise number 2 is going to be an alligator roll. So when we're talking about a pirouette, often the problem that we tend to find is, if I just demonstrate to you, when people are trying to turn in a pirouette, when they first learn, they learn to lead with their shoulders and then the whole body twists. And what happens is as you're leading with the shoulders, the legs fall on the floor. What we need to learn to do is to move the hips, the ankles and the shoulders, hopefully you can see me, all at the same time. I'm going to shuffle back here. Arms are going to go overhead. We're going to go into your hollow position and we're going to twist everything at the same time. Over and then back. Over and then back. There and back's going to be 1 repetition. We're going to do it 5 times. So your warm-up is going to be 5 shoulder stands, 5 candlestick rolls, maybe kind of like a 20-second shoulder stand if you struggle with that, and then into 5 alligator rolls there and back. Okay, so building onto confidence of falling forwards out of the handstand. We're going to go through progressions of a forwards roll. So we're going to talk about a basic forwards roll now. Things that we tend to find that people do wrong. Your goal isn't to try and touch your head to the floor. Your goal is to try and touch your upper back to the floor. Second thing that we do, everything that we're trying to create speed. Think about like, if you want to kind of think about an ice skater, okay? Especially kind of like when we're looking at the dancers. Have a think when they're moving nice and slowly in a circle. What are they? Are they far away from the body or are they close in? They're generally far away. They're doing nice slow turns. When they're trying to speed up and they get faster and faster, they bring it closer into the body. Yeah, so we want to create more speed. So if you want to try and get through that forwards roll or that tuck a lot faster, you need to keep in that nice tight ball. Yeah, so problem number 2 that we see is people opening up too soon. So I'm going to show you those problems that we see. So in a forward roll, we see people with their hands on the floor and then they try and touch their heads down to the floor. Problem number 1. And when they do is they tend to open up a little bit too early and legs flop on the floor. So we go over and then people open up a little bit too early. So things we want to do, contact with your upper back, keep as tight as you can into the ball, and hopefully then you should be able to get back in and standing straight up again. So talking you through this, go back into that position that we've finished on with your candlestick roll. Arms are going to be out in front of you. You're going to have to support yourself on your hands, so this does involve quite a bit of strength work, especially if you're not used to gymnastics. We're going to then try and lean forwards and try and touch your upper back to the floor, and then back into a standing position. One more time. Hands out in front, on the floor, touching your back and in. Big advantage is we're now going to be on a carpet. We're going to take it outside in a second. We're going to show you that we're going to kick up into a handstand and then try and do a forwards roll. So skill work today is just spend 5 minutes working on forwards roll progressions. The workout is then going to be, we're going to take it outside, we're going to practice kicking up into a freestanding handstand, and then have a go. See if you can either turn to the side or see if you can go into a forwards roll position. Again, if you're doing this, do not do this on a solid ground. Either do it outside on the grass, do it on the beach, make sure you've got no stones underneath you, or just practice kicking up to a handstand and then coming back down again.